Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It is Friday, July the 6th, the year 2018. Let's talk trading. Weekly wrap up and the NFP or non-farm payroll. Non-farm payroll day. It is extremely important that you are on top of your money and risk management game. As we can see, the yen is down for the month. Really haven't had much movement in the yen this week. And on the weekly, you can see here we're 14 pips below the weekly open. And for those of you who missed the earlier videos this week, we filled all those gaps. And you can see we have some movement off of the open. You know, most of them seem to be within 100 pips. We've got one exception. You can see the dollar franc and the Aussie yen and the Aussie CAD are just hanging out right around that weekly open. So those will be pretty much dojis if you're in the Japanese candlesticks. You can see here on the daily we retraced yesterday's close to open range. We popped out at the high. We haven't popped out of the low. We're sitting at 110.42. And it's really interesting. Today's NFP, and we only have 3 pairs with the range exceeding 100. How things have changed. NFP day used to be the day where you could just rake it in because there was so much volatility and movement. Obviously things change, so that's why you have to trade in the moment. You can't rely on what you think. You have to rely on what you see. Buy zone, here we go. Starting off, that was either a scratch or a loss. We had an open, that was either a, well, let's see. You could have taken the hit, you could have ridden it out here for a tiny profit. If you entered here, there was profit to be made, tiny profit to be made. Looks like about, somewhere between 5 and 10 pips. Ditto here. And then you came back down, scratch, loss, enter for a win here, and that brings us to here. But just not much happening with the NFP, it seems like. It's like the range was only 42 on the yen. And so with that tight of a range, rat zone is pretty much irrelevant. We did cover the pivot here. Let's see. Looks like we picked up that missed pivot there. We'll bring up the pivot chart right here. Yeah, you see we covered that missed pivot. And was this one a miss? I believe that might have been a miss also. So you can see how these missed pivots got covered. These pivots probably stay missed for the rest of the year unless something happens and we lose 300 to 500 pips off the dollar yen. So I hope those of you who like the pivots are using the missed pivots to your advantage. Oh yeah, I seem to space this out just so you know what the pivot indicators, which ones I'm using on this particular template. So these are the ones that are missed. These are the ones that were misses on the day, but you see you had 29 there. You only have 4 here, so 25 out of the 29 got covered. Price action. Okay, here goes the broken record. 3 ball, red at the line, profit. 2 ball, green at the line, profit. Now, in this particular case, usually you don't trade the candle that has the semaphore or 1, 2, or 3 ball. If you think you see something or you want to, you do. But usually, or you have to remember, when the ball appears on the candle, it's telling you it's breaking out. It's not telling you it's reversing. And that is just so important that you understand that about the 3-level ZZ indicator. And so let me just, so right there, 3-level ZZ semaphore, the modified version. Okay, using the previous daily session lines. Once again, trade with the candle color at the line, and usually there's profit to be made. Sometimes it's just a handful of pips. But I mean, if you do a handful of pips somewhere between 3 and 5 times a day, you could probably walk away with at least 10, if not 20 pips. Wick zone price doesn't like staying in the wick zone, and you can see it's happening again live. It came down to here, but nope, got pushed right out of that wick zone. And here we got the holo zone. We had a highest open here, pushed way down. We had a lowest open, gave you a second chance to get back in. Actually, it made a new high right there, and now we're coming back out. And since I've flipped on this portfolio, you can see here the bid got below the valley of the ask right here. You see the ask got below the high of the peak of the bid right there, turned around, and we moved up about 5-6 pips since then. Inventory reduction right there. It didn't quite hit that line, so you shouldn't have been in that trade. There was a short opportunity here just for a handful of pips. But I believe, I haven't read the write-up on this, but I believe the guy who invented this or developed this method was trading off of a daily time frame, not necessarily a intraday time frame. But I found out usually if a system's good, it's robust, it doesn't matter what time frame, it should always work. Now some time frames might give you a little bit more opportunities, better opportunities. You have to fine-tune that yourself. And using the daily, weekly, monthly open, high, and low, you can see here we crossed above yesterday's open. Since I set up this portfolio, you can see right there at the Einstein line, we're up a few pips. You know, I'm thinking I should update this indicator with some of my newer code so you can see how far above the lines the price is. I forget how long ago I did the Einstein indicator. And once again, frequency distribution, we got the high minus the close here, 30 pips. So once again, remember in the rat zone, even though we've only got a 41 pip range, it still would have paid off. And one thing I'm doing is I'm playing with the reversals, and when I get within 2 pips of the high or 2 pips of the low, or actually when it's making a new high and it's 0 here or 0 here, I then look at the spread dots indicator. Where do I have it? Right here. And then as soon as it would, like if it was up high, as soon as it would switch to waiting, then I would, be ready to click on a sell. Or if it was down here and it goes from selling to waiting, I'd be ready to click on a buy and try and get it within 2 pips of that high or low. And that can be profitable. Now, there's sometimes you might want to wait, and other times you just might want to jump in. You've got to know the pair you're trading and know its tendencies. So in other words, you're looking at a tick level, but you say, you know what, I'm not going to trade against the M5 candle color or the M1. You just wait it out, wait it out. And if you don't, maybe you get within 3 pips or maybe 4, but you'll be in somewhere near that high. And here we're right at the psychological 50. So for the NFP, there really wasn't much going on here. Normally I'd look at the different lines from the previous day. Where is that one? Too bad we can't name these. So here on the yen, let's change time frames. Let's go down to the 1 minute. We can really see what happened. The NFP. I mean, right there was your short, and that was worth about 15 pips. So if you were quick enough to get in, it would have paid off. But once again, you had to be quick. You can't be slow. Because in trading, there's only the quick and the dead. It's kind of like gunfighting, right? And so you can see here we crossed above this line, and we're still at the 50 psychological. Bid's not over 50 yet. There we go. Got to get that bid over 50 for price to continue. And we can go back to the H1. Or actually, you can even look at M15. You see here you had a nice solid M15 short. Came all the way down, hit that open, started to reverse. Should have been out with at least 10 pips. So one thing about trading the NFP, some people try and get the big run. I like to just, if I can get, some quick pips, I'm happy. So that pretty much wraps it up for the week. Hope you had a good week and a good month so far. Hope you had a nice, safe holiday on July the 4th. Over the weekend, I think I gave you guys some homework to do earlier in the week, so make sure you do it. Only improve your trading. Remember, you got to practice and start to work on and eliminate those weaknesses, reinforce the strengths. So enjoy the weekend, and when you're studying your trading, just remember, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So drain the banks and enjoy the weekend.